Hello, friends. In this video, we're going to be talking about redis. And redis is a database where you could store key value pairs. So instead of a relational database like Postgres, where you can store complicated schemas, in redis, you can only store a key and its value, and it's pretty much the value is always a string. And you can go and get that data and then use it in your web app. So this is commonly used to cache data that is often fetched. Like for instance, these tweets in my website here. Since they're my tweets, I know for a fact that I'm not tweeting right now, so I don't need to be fetching this data brand new every time I load the page. I can just cache it in Redis, and then the advantage is that it's much quicker to retrieve that data from Redis than it is to go all the way to Postgres. I guess the highbrow version or the lowbrow thing to say would just be use Redis because it's very fast, but the highbrow way of putting this would be something like Redis is faster because it lives in the server's cache. I mean, it lives on the server's RAM while Postgres lives on the disk or something like that. And pretty much it is just much easier to fetch data from Redis. So if you have an opportunity to cache it, it can really streamline your experience. So this is my production server right here. And we can see that when I refresh the page, I'm going all the way. This data actually isn't in Postgres. It's just fetching directly from the Twitter API. And over here, we can see the request. So it looks like, yeah, the timing of this was actually 4 seconds. So that's outrageously long. I think that's because I'm recording this video right now. It's usually, I would expect like 400 milliseconds or something like that. And then when the data is cached in Redis, you see we get a 304, it goes down to something like 215. So much faster. I mean, compared to almost 5 seconds, this is 20 times faster, but or 50 or something like that. But yeah, for the average, like 500 milliseconds that it takes to go to the Twitter API and get the tweets, if you cache this in Redis, it'll make it at least twice, if not 10 times as fast. So let's just look at how we can do this in the code. So I use IO Redis, and we can look at my Redis util that I just save on all of my apps right here. It's pretty much just creating a Redis instance, and you just have to give the URL. So I'm getting these from environment variables, but wherever your Redis server is, that's all you have to feed into this IO Redis module. And this is actually my production server right here. So this is what Redis is, and you can do something like set and then give the value of the key. The Redis CLI has nice autocomplete like this. So if I want to set name to the value spenpo, then it says okay, and then I can get name and it'll tell me it's spenpo. And if I want to delete name, then I go like that, and then if I get name, it will tell me that nothing is there. And then you can also say keys and keys and star to just get all of your keys, and it'll tell you that I only have one key in my Redis instance right now, and that is called content. So we'll talk about that later in the demo. So what's happening over in the Twitter request is I'm first saying await redis.get and looking for the tweets. Since when I go down here to load more tweets, I'm actually changing the query of the request to have a different count. So this is changing. I want to cache all of those separately, so I'm always looking for tweets / whatever the count may be, so that I get those at the appropriate time. But I'm pretty much looking to see if this key is in Redis, and then saying if it's there, then just return that. And only if this is null do I then go and hit the hit the Twitter API like this, go and actually fetch the data. So as long as I do find as long as I do find this key in Redis, I never actually have to wait to fetch the data. And if I do fetch the data, then afterwards I set the key in Redis to the stringified version of the response that I get back, which is right here. So one other thing is that I'm actually saying set x, which means set with an expiration of this, which is in seconds. So I'm saying set this to expire in 60 seconds. Yeah, this we can demo here too. So set x name. Oh wait, seconds is first. Yeah, so 30, or we'll just do 10. And then if I do TTL, it'll say 4 seconds, and then if I say that again, it'll say 2, and then if I say it again, and then -2 means that if I say get name, it's not there anymore. So I'm only caching this data for 60 seconds because I feel like nobody is really going to this page and like viciously refreshing my tweets. And also I do want them to expire relatively soon, because if I tweet again, I want the next person that comes to see my most up-to-date tweets. So it's just important to think about the use case and find the sweet spot of when you want this data to expire, how soon you want it to not be cached anymore. So that's pretty much the pattern. You check Redis, and if it's there, just return the value. And then if not, that's when you fetch the data for real, go to your database or go to your API, and then set that in Redis after you've gotten the data. So we can see what this looks like. Let me just make sure that everything, okay, so content is still there, but don't worry about that. So there's no tweet data in here pretty much. So we will see, takes a pretty long time, and then we can see that, yeah, that took, oh wait, yeah, 3.8 seconds. If we go check Redis, we will see tweets 10, and if we say get tweets 10, there's all my Twitter data. And then if we refresh before it goes away in 60 seconds, we should see that it was, dramatically less, 200 milliseconds that time instead of almost 4 seconds. So that's really nice. The other thing that I'm using Redis for on this site is now this check out my last post component. So I actually did a video on this recently, which is ironically right here, called static site generation with Next.js. So in my production server, my production instance of my website, I am statically generating this component, which means that this data is fetched from the database during build time, and then it's never fetched again. So Next.js has this cool trick where they say if you want to just fetch this data only when the app is being built, you can do that, and then it'll be available in the client immediately. So that's why when we refresh this page, you don't see this thing loading. It's just right there immediately because this data was fetched a long time ago, and it's already ready in the client for you to see. This was very important to me because, well, this is the landing page of the website, and especially for mobile users, if you are looking at this site on your mobile phone and it's like maybe this big, and maybe your phone is only like this long, this is literally the only thing you see when you load the site. So if you first go to this site and you just see a big like loading symbol for like 2 seconds, that is just really unattractive and not a good user experience for like the first little thing that's right in front of your face when you get to the site. so that's why I thought it was a good solution to just statically generate this and deal with the limitations of static site generation. So I'll go back over those, which are that I cannot change this data. It is now static. The only way to change this would be to change the data in the database and then rebuild the website. So I could go to my deployments over here in Vercel and pretty much say, like, this is my main deployment. If I wanted to just go here and redeploy, I could do that. So that'll take about, however long it takes, like 3 minutes. And you would be waiting for that to happen, and then you would go to the site and make sure that everything worked, and that's fine. I was fine with that because, small sacrifices. But I think I found a better solution, which is to use server-side rendering for this and just cache the data in Redis indefinitely. So let me tell you what I mean. Let's actually go to this deployment. So this is a deployment of my branch called feature Redis content, and we can look at the changes right here. So here is my index page. I guess the code is actually here. So this is the what's new. Check out my latest post component right here, and the content or the data is coming from right here from props. That's just the props of the home component, and I'm getting those props now from get server-side props. So instead of static site generation, I'm doing server-side rendering here, and I'll show you why. These are the changes. I just changed get static props to get server-side props, and now I'm checking Redis for this content key. And if I do find it, then I just return the content. Same pattern as the Twitter caching way. And then if not, I set content to the stringified version of what is returned from the database. And this time, I'm not using an expiration time for set. I'm just setting this indefinitely because if I have updated the content in the database and then here's pretty much like the way I would use this. So I want the data to pretty much be dynamic, as in I can use the database sort of like a CMS. The database is pretty much right here, and if I say select from content, I could see that this is the content that is in Postgres, and this is what's getting fetched and displayed right here when you visit the site. I'm just getting lost in what I'm trying to explain here, but essentially the same thing is going on in Redis. Get content has the exact same data right here. So you could just see title, static site generation, and it's this is all the same. So how do I want to use this setup to my advantage? Well, I want to be able to just use pretty much the CLI like this to just update this content whenever I want. And that would be like if I record a new video like I am right now, I want to right after this be able to update the database and see this change take place. So like I said, this data is set indefinitely to be in Redis. So now that it's there, it's never going away, and every time someone goes to my site and mounts this home component, the data is going to come from Redis, unless I change it. So what I can do is, let's say I wanted to change this picture to like a picture of a puppy, and I want to use this little guy. So if I copy the image address right here, and then I say update content set image equal to this, then I updated that row, and over here we will still, okay, so where, yeah. So we want to look at this code, which has these changes in it. So that's deployed right here. That's the really nice part about Vercel, is every time you push changes to a branch, it deploys the code for you. So as you can see, the picture hasn't changed, and that's because the app is just getting this data out of Redis right now. So in Redis, the data is still the same. Like this image is yeah, not the same as this one that we just set it to, obviously. So what we can do if we want to remove this cache is just run a flush all, and that removes everything from Redis. So now it'll tell me that I don't have any keys. And then if we go and remount this page, this component is going to check Redis for that data, and if it doesn't find any, it'll go all the way to the database. So I should see the puppy now because that's what's in the database. And then we should see that we have new keys in Redis, and if we get content, our key is our new puppy image. So that's a much easier way to update the content, because you don't have to wait for that build when your site is being statically generated. I know it seems like, yeah, it's still 2 steps, but this is actually much more advantageous because it leaves open the option to like roll all of these actions into like a CMS. And this is actually in the works for me. So what I really want is to have like some user specificity built into my site where pretty much people can log in and maybe like they could make comments on my projects or make comments on my blog posts. You would just have a profile on SpendPo. But the real advantage for me would be that I would have like some kind of admin role where then I get special features, and I would build myself a CMS where if I wanted to update this content, I would just do it through a form on the website. I wouldn't like go onto my server like this and run a query directly against the database and then clear my cache. I would just have a form that says, well, what do you want to change this content to? Give me the URL of the image, give me the URL of the link, give me these 2 text items, and then just hit a button, and hitting that button would do all 3 of those things. It would first insert the new row into the database, and then clear the cache, and then add the new Redis content, or add the new cached content into Redis. So yeah, that's definitely like a project that I'm excited about at least being able to build now. It definitely wasn't an option when I was doing it with get static props, because yeah, maybe there is some way to like rebuild your, like run a function with Vercel's API or something where you rebuild your website, but you're still waiting that 3 minutes. So it's not as nice as being able to just update the row and then clear the cache. You could also do it like this. You don't have to flush all. If you have like other important stuff in Redis, you could just do del content, and then you won't have any more keys. So yeah, that's just like an option that I have now, and I'm excited to do a project like that. So yeah, this is probably like month 3 or 4 that I've been using Redis, and it's really useful. I get a lot of value out of it in my web apps. So if you, I know this wasn't like a crash course or anything, but if you are interested in a Redis crash course, Web Dev Simplified is a really awesome YouTube account where he just has a killer Redis crash course where he shows everything that you could do with it, and yeah, how it makes your app just so much faster if you use it right. So yeah, that's everything about Redis that I'm using on my site now, and thank you for watching. Bye guys.